Please welcome. Good morning. Good morning. Well, I have decided that you guys love Rotary more than I do. Honest to gosh. Because you get up early to come to Rotary. You gotta love Rotary. That's all I know. I love it. I am not a morning person. I go to bed at 2 a.m. My husband gets up at 4:30, so we just kind of hand off in the morning, I think. But it's so good to be here. And Andy reminded me, I think that my countertop, my marble that's on my countertop at my house, because it looks like the granite, maybe it's granite. It looks like what's on the state capitol, and it came from here, didn't it? So cool, so cool. Yeah. So, well, anyway, good to be here this morning, and I'm just so excited to meet so many of you. I've never been here before. I wonder why, because I'm not a morning person. But I wanted today to just kind of give you a little thing of what's going on. When I was getting ready to, can you guys hear me? Okay. When I was getting ready to be district governor last year, I looked so forward to being a part of International Assembly. That's something that all district governors go to because they're preparing us for this job. And so 535 of us were all going to Orlando, Florida to meet, to develop relationships, friendships, discuss projects that we could do internationally. I was looking so forward to it. And then that crazy thing called COVID hit. So instead of spending 5 wonderful days in Orlando and having a little fun and getting to know new people, I spent 11 days on Zoom. How much fun was that? Really, I had a great time. Yeah, my 17-inch MacBook Pro. It was really a fun day, or fun week, 2 weeks actually. But I knew I had to go through it because I wanted to be here with you today, and that was part of it. But one of the things that I really had looked forward to was my past district governors had been telling me, wait until your president, and that's Shekhar Mehta from Calcutta, India, announces his theme. He said, they all said, there's smoke, there's, music, the AVs are just wonderful. And I was going, all right, another big disappointment, because here I am watching this 17-inch MacBook Pro. How can it get any more exciting than that? But guess what, guys? It really was pretty exciting. It was actually kind of emotional for me because whether you know it or not, and somewhere is our banner that says, serve to change lives. That's our theme this year. And when Shekhar actually presented it on my 17-inch MacBook Pro, I actually got a tear in my eye because, I was born of 2 very servant-hearted parents, and my dad was a cotton ginner and in the cotton business. My mom was a nurse and an x-ray tech, and they'd always told me that I was here actually to serve. That was what, and so when I heard Shekhar announce his theme, I knew this was my year to be governor. It was just fate. That's all I can say. And, as Shekhar spoke, he talked about some things. And he said this year in 22, we as Rotarians, not just district governors, but we as Rotarians are going to be change makers. That's what we have to do. We have to consider ourselves change. And I think when you look at our theme, serve to change lives, I think that's the most important part of the entire theme is change. And so today I want to share with you my hopes for the district, but I also want to talk about a little bit about change because that is important. That's what Shekhar wanted us to talk about. So my first hope of my 4 hopes with you today is just to help increase your awareness to what the Rotary Foundation does. I know many of you have been longtime Rotarians, and I love you for that, because you've carried probably the torch far longer than I've carried it. But I wanted to help you understand why the foundation is so important. And I don't know if you realize, but 3 years ago, when Jerry Chapman was president, our governor, we were the 10th best giving district in the whole wide world. Out of 535 districts, our district was number 10. And we're competing with London chapter, LA chapter, New York, Houston, all those big. Our district was the 10th most giving district in the whole wide world. And actually the year after that, in Jim Henry's year, we were the 11th best giving district in the whole wide world in annual fund giving. That's amazing. And that's because we get an idea of what the foundation's about. And I believe that. But it's also important, I feel, that not only do we give, but we need to see. You know, I've been very fortunate. I've been able to travel the world giving out wheelchairs on behalf of the Rotary Foundation and in behalf of your giving. I've gone and put drops in babies' mouths in India. But you know what? It's important that all Rotarians have an opportunity to see the global grants and the things that we do. So when I was selected as district governor nominee, I said, you know what? We're going to do a global grant in the United States. Because you know what? There is a need in the United States. And whether you realize it or not, there is an area outside of Flagstaff, Arizona, called the Dilcon area of Arizona, where the Navajo Indians live. And whether you know it or not, they do not have clean water. When they turn their faucet on, it's brown. I wouldn't drink it. I wouldn't want anybody to drink it. And that's the sad part. It's been contaminated with E. coli, arsenic, and uranium from things like mining and other industries. And so what we felt like we needed to do is we needed to reach out and change this. So we started looking, and we found a group called Dig Deep, and they're outside, they're actually in California. And they are actually going in and providing clean water by means of digging like a hole. We put a cistern in, and then if you will see, this is the water truck that will go through. But let me explain how it works. It's really emotional for me. I don't get it because we send money all over the world. But these Navajo Indians have about 6 gallons of clean water every day to use. And that's because they have to travel 5, 10, 15 miles to a clean water resource. And they have to bring their own jugs or barrels or whatever that is. They have 6 gallons of water, and they have they on average have 5 to 11 people in their households. So now imagine each one of you with 6 gallons of water. You're going to brush your teeth, you're going to wash your clothes, you're going to bathe yourself, you're going to cook, you're going to flush your toilet 5 to 11 times, and you've got 6 gallons of water to do that. Can you imagine? Well, our project is going to provide them with between 40 and 70 gallons of water every day, along with electricity, because you have to have electricity to pump the water from the cistern into the house. So we're giving them lights, which they didn't have. And the way we went about this is we started looking for districts that had money or DDF that they would give us. And we found 3 international districts: Australia, Argentina, and Canada, as well as 5 districts within the domestic US: Kansas, Tennessee, California, Arizona, and Texas, as well as many clubs in our own district. And we raised $283,500. That's dynamic, guys. And with that, we are going to provide 63 families with clean water that they don't have to travel. Originally, 165 families were actually pinpointed as being in critical need. And so with our project, we will complete the critical list need. That's the great thing. That's the impactful thing. And so not only are we providing them clean water, but we're giving them a healthier lifestyle. We're putting food on their table, but most of all, we're restoring their dignity and self-worth. That's what water does. But the great part about it is, in May, I've already paid for a bus. So any of you that want to go with us as District 5870, we're going to load a bus and we're headed to Flagstaff, Arizona. I want each of you to have the opportunity to see the faces of those that we're going to impact. You have my business card. If you want to go, you and your wife or husband want to go with me, or a friend, let me know. The bus is about a third full right now, but if you want to go, it's free. It's free. The bus is free. You'll have to pay your lodging and food, but outside of that, the travel is free. Or if you want to fly out there and meet us, I have no problem with that. Or drive out there, whatever. But please come and join with us as we celebrate the good of Rotary with the Navajo Indians. Okay. My second hope is actually to just bring back the camaraderie and the cohesiveness through the power of service in our district. You know, COVID kind of struck us a hard blow. And to me, it's nothing more important than pulling back together through service. So what I've done is I've developed 4 projects that we're going to do throughout the district, and I hope that you'll participate in them. The first project is going to focus around hunger. What we're doing is we're going to provide a $10,000 check to the Central Texas Food Bank. And with that money, what we're asking you guys is that if you have a food pantry in your area, let us know. We're looking at getting food pantries that get that food, but have local Rotarians that can support it. What we're asking you is, as we develop these food banks, we want you to go out and provide service through the food bank, through the Central Texas Food Bank in your local pantries. So that's our number 1 project, is fighting hunger. Our second project actually focuses on a silent predator. And whether you know it or not, it lurks, not just in big cities, but in small communities. There's 23 counties in our district, and I-35, I-10, and I-45 all run through it. And this silent predator is called human trafficking. And whether you know it or not, it's here in your community. It is here. The groomers and the human traffickers are in your schools, and they're in your local areas. And the further I dig into this thing, it is a true travesty. It is an injustice. And if there's any one group that can fight this thing, I know it's Rotarians, because I know your hearts. So we're in the midst of developing this human trafficking project. We're hoping to do it in January, which is Fighting Human Trafficking Month. It may dwell into February, but we're looking at ways that we can get into our schools and increasing the awareness to our public, to our community. So as that project moves along, I'll be letting Becky know. Do you have an Interact Club in the high school? Okay, because we really want to utilize them as well, because they're in the schools. We want to help them. So we're working on that project as well. My third project is basically around the newest area of focus. Does anybody know our newest 7th area of focus? What? Yes, I do. It's the environment. As of July 1, we have a new 7th area of focus, and it's the environment. Did you get a bench?
What?
Bench?
A bench.
Evidently not. Okay. I put out, I put out a note to all the presidents, and we gave 33 benches with a tree and a little library away. So, and they got gobbled up very quickly. Yeah, it's a Rotary insignia bench with a tree and a bench. And what we're asking clubs is to put them in very impactful areas in your community, whether it's along a walking trail, near a library itself, near a school, whatever. So if you didn't get it, we kind of put you on a priority list somewhere else. So you're not getting cheated, I promise, I promise. And then the 4th project is based around an initiative that Shaker charged us as governors with, and that's empowering girls and women. You know, in the US, we don't have that real problem, but in the world we do. Girls and women are considered second class. When I was in India, they were rated below the Brahmas that walk the street. So it was very important to him that we empower women. So what we're going to do is be doing a couple of projects as well as a Zoom series on how to how we as Rotarians can actually empower women around the world. And those projects will be through Days for Girls and Noonday. Those are going to be 2 projects that we're going to be doing. So again, wait for that. Actually, the panelists that we will be hosting, the Zoom series will be November 4th at 4 o'clock. And I'm looking very forward to that Zoom series. So my third hope is based around something I don't understand. You know, I've been hearing how Rotary has a membership problem. Have y'all heard that? Have you heard that? Yeah, I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. Because you see, when I joined Rotary, I actually went to somebody and said, hey, would you take me to Rotary? He kind of looked at me like, yeah. And I went. You see, I had heard that the movers and shakers of a community are in Rotary. And you see, I was starting a new practice in Rockdale, Texas. And so I thought, you know, by being a Rotarian, I was going to be part of the movers and shakers of the community. Why wouldn't you want to be a part of that, especially if you're starting a business or you want to become something in the community? And plus, not only was I going to be a mover and shaker, but I was going to have clout, right? I was going to get networking because you guys were going to help me develop my business. I was going to learn leadership skills because that's what Rotarians do. You're leaders. You were going to teach me these things. So are you hearing what I'm saying? It's what Rotary was going to give me, right? It's what Rotary was going to give to me. Well, I want to tell you that there is a difference between being a member of a club and being a Rotarian. That's the important thing. It's when you become a Rotarian that you really understand why we are in the club. You see, it was not until District Governor Tim Buckley came to my club for his governor's speech, and he brought Gail, his wife. And they used to do spouse projects, and Gail was doing a wheelchair project in Cancun, Mexico. Well, being a physical therapist, I went, I can do that. I'm a physical therapist. I can help somebody get into a wheelchair. You hear what I'm saying? I was going to get a vacation out of this thing. I was going to. It was not until one day I was in the Rotary Community Center in Cancun, Mexico. And back in the very far corner, I saw this middle-aged couple kind of struggling in, and they were carrying their 18-year-old full-grown son, Jose. And because he had a spastic cerebral palsy, they're very hard to manipulate because they posture very rigidly. And I recognized immediately what was happening. And so I waved to them to come over and I would help them. And I went and got a wheelchair and I set it down. And mom and dad very gingerly put Jose into that chair, and I kind of got in front of him. And in my very broken Spanish, I said something to him. And when I looked up at him, Jose had a smile on his face from ear to ear. It was like he had seen Santa Claus for the very first time. Because you see, at that very moment, Jose got the gift of mobility for the first time in his life. He was 18 years old and had never had a wheelchair in his entire life. He had been dependent on somebody carrying him all his life to go from place to place. But this day, some Rotarian had given money, whether they knew it or not, and had created a day that Jose would remember forever. And when we give those 25, those 50, those $100 that we give to the Rotary Foundation, that's what we do every day. And I was there, I was looking at Jose, and I looked up at mom, and she's going, muchas gracias, with tears coming down her eyes. I will never forget that day as long as I live. That was the day I became a Rotarian. I was never, ever a member of the Rotary Club of Rockville ever again. I was a Rotarian, and I knew going forward that the foundation, that my membership in this organization was the most important thing that I had done in a long time. So my friends, I look at Rotary not as something as a drudgery. I look at it as a true luxury. I'm so glad that I am a Rotarian. And so If you will look, I've got a box on the table. That's my gift to you. That's district's gift to you. And actually what it is, it's our theme pin for the year. And what I ask is that you wear it. It is our theme pin. When you wear it and you put it on your lapel, people are going to say, what's that thing you have on your shoulder? Or what's that on your shirt? And it opens the door for you to say, I'm a Rotarian. And you tell your story. Why are you a Rotarian? Have you ever thought about why you're a Rotarian? That's the moment you can share it. And you know what? More than likely, they'll want to at least maybe come and become a Rotarian, or at least come to a meeting and hear what we as Rotarians do. I share that with you. I hope that you will wear it, because I promise you it will open a door. And as Shaker has said, he's actually charged all of us as Rotarians to bring a member to Rotary. Now, I'm not saying they may not eventually be a Rotarian, but please bring them and give them the opportunity to at least find out what Rotary is about. That's what the charge is. So as we do more, as we ask people, we will grow. We will not have a membership problem. And that's what we have to work on this year. My fourth and my last hope is actually just to rekindle this energy that we had as District 5870 before COVID hit. I tell you what, my favorite quote is, when life gives you lemons, what do you do with it? Lemonade? No. I make margaritas. I may do lemon drop martinis, but I'm going to have some fun. Okay. So yes, we are going to make lemonade. We as Rotarians need to take advantage of this thing that we're coming out of. We need to become the center of service. And that's because we have to become relevant in our communities again. It's very important that if there is a need in our community, they turn to Rotary. They don't turn to those other organizations. They turn to Rotary because they know we will take care of business. So we have to become relevant in our communities again. Another thing is, I know many of you are not going to understand what I'm fixing to say, but I've had Rotarians come up to me as I prepared for this and said, we just don't know how to have fun anymore. And I'm going, Rotarians don't know how to have fun? Well, okay. So what we did as a district, we've devised a brand new committee. It's called the Service Committee. If you need a speaker, and I'm hearing you say you don't have a speaker. Oh, there you go. See, there you go. Well, we have a speaker bureau now on the district website. If you need a speaker, click on it. There's a contact of a name. If you want a speaker, contact that person and see if they'll come to your club and visit. If you need a project, some clubs have problems with projects. We have a projects list. There's ideas of what different types of projects that clubs have been doing. So I encourage you to do that. Another thing is, it's something I talked to the Hill Country Passport last night. We're going to do a friendship exchange. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's kind of like youth exchange, but this is with adults. And so I'm partnering with 5690 up in North Dakota, Minnesota, Canada. 10 of them are actually going to come down to Texas April 1st through 10th of next year. And I chose Marble Falls as one of the communities. I love your community. It is a beautiful community. So I chose Marble Falls as one of the areas that we're going to be bringing those 10 people to. What we're asking of you is that you open your home to serve as a host for 1 or 2 nights for these Rotarians. You're not responsible for anything but a bed. That's all we ask of you. But if you want to take them to dinner, they may take you to dinner. I don't know. But we are going to have a friendship exchange because I think it's important that we meet Rotarians from all over the world. And that's really what friendship exchange is about. But because of COVID, I said, let's stick to the US until we knew borders would open. So that's another opportunity for you to meet other Rotarians from all over the U.S. And the last thing was, what is the 5th rule of the 4-way test? Oh my goodness. What is it? Will it be fun? Okay. That is the 5th rule of the 4-way test. I had people say, we can't have fun. I said, okay. So we have divided, went out and found a woman that is all about fun, and she has a list of fun activities. Icebreakers, ways of doing socials, fundraisers. Again, it's under the service tab on the district website. The district website is www.rotarydistrict5870.org. So much information there. Please go and visit it. Well, you know, those are my hopes, but I will tell you that if you are not getting the membership that you want in this club, if you're not developing projects like you want, if you're having problems with foundation giving, then what I'm going to tell you is you may need to make some small changes in your club. Because, you know, they say you keep on doing the same old, and you're going to keep getting the same old. It's just the truth. So if you're not liking what's going on, you may have to make small changes. Don't make big changes, please. People don't change very well. Make little changes. Do a club membership survey. Find out what your club wants. Listen to your new members. You've got new members. I know you do. Listen to what they're telling you. They're going to tell you what's up and new in your communities. Very, very important. So also, when you do get these new members, make sure you orient them. Maybe make sure they know what they've gotten themselves into. Make sure they know they're a part of 1.2 million people around the world who have not only combated and almost eradicated polio. In fact, we only had 2 cases this whole year in January. That's dynamic, guys. But that the infrastructure that we've used with polio, we have fought COVID with it. We're putting out vaccines through that pipeline. We quickly evaded the Zika and Ebola because of the polio plus infrastructure we had. That's what we did as Rotarians. We have put schools where there were none. Kids were drawing in the dirt under a tree. That was their school. We now have schools there. We have latrines in schools so girls can go to school. We have hospitals where mothers and babies were dying because there were no hospitals. That's what we as Rotarians are. And that's what we need to make sure our new members know we are doing, as well as our seasoned members. That's important. Well, on June 30th, 2022, when Becky and I hang up our hats, I want us all to be able to say that we made a difference this year, that we changed one person's life, at least. That is important. That's important. I want us to say, you know, we made a difference and we made life better for somebody. As Helen Keller so eloquently said, as one, we do so little, but together we can do so much. And that's true. We have 1.2 million people behind us supporting us. Thank you for this time this morning. I can't wait to talk to the board afterwards, but thank you for your time. I'll be here if you have questions. Again, it's been good to be here in Marble Falls. Thank you so much.